But I think to Paul's point of like supply hasn't changed. It's really just buyers staying in their rentals or in their parents' basement for now until interest rates kind of stabilize or come back down. And I think that's really, I know we have an article kind of talking about that a bit, but right now there's still such a shortage nationally and within the city that there might be more listings on the market, but people psychologically just aren't buying because.
You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate today.
Hello, welcome back to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. We are all here today. Three amigos. Paul, Greg, Dave. My name is Paul Stevenson. I'm a mortgage agent. I'm here with Greg Campbell. He is a realtor at the agency, Ottawa. And there we go.
Oh, look at amazing. That snazzy shirt.
And
wow.
David Warren, mortgage agent. And we are all co-hosts of the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. We like to talk about what's happening in the city, what's happening in the world, what's happening in our lives. What's going on, gentlemen?
This is actually my first time back in like the proper space in like 6 weeks, I think. Crazy. Or 5 weeks anyways.
It is summer.
It is summer. Summer, brings changes. A lot of different things going on in the summer.
You hit the road for a while there.
Yeah, I did. Hit the road, came back. Kids dropped the kids off at camp today. First time for a full week of camp that they've ever had. Dance and drama camp. Should be pretty fun.
Wow, dance and drama.
That should be that should make for a fun evening household. I'm sure you'll get all the routines played out.
Oh yeah, we'll get the whole show every day, every single day. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well,
yeah,
gentlemen,
excellent. So we got a few things to go over. Greg, I know people have been just chomping at the bit for updates. Okay, it's a crazy market. Bit of a roller coaster. I know there was actually a few comments. Greg, you reached out or you commented on one last week about. I think he was asking about whether or not we see a dip in. He said, for a long-time listener, first-time commenter, have you noticed an uptick? Sorry, not a downtick. Have you noticed an uptick in sales prior to each scheduled interest rate announcement? For example, are you seeing more sales occurring prior to the BOC update? And you had a great answer there, Greg. Maybe just for the other listeners who didn't see that, you want to, I guess we can all touch on it, but figured that'd be a good place to start.
Can't remember what I wrote there.
Well, but maybe Paul can reread it for you.
I'll read Greg's comment to Greg. He says, it does tend to work like that. In my experience, I predict a big uptick in home sales this month, pre the next potential rate hike in September. We'll see as the numbers change weekly. I would say, I was talking to a realtor this morning, newer into the industry, but just saying that this is, he's saying that his buyers are, as I'm sure you're seeing, Greg, as kind of a common sentiment, but that a lot of people are seeing buyers being slower, a lot more supply on the market right now, and people are just being a little pickier. But we as we've been saying, it's August 9th when this comes out, and this is usually when we start seeing things kind of turn the corner. People are back. They're kind of already thinking back to school in a month. They're getting back settled in. They want to maybe make some big moves before all the craziness starts again. So what are you kind of seeing right now, Greg, in the market before the announcement?
I'm seeing people offering very low on listings because the bank just simply is not giving them the money they need to purchase a home that they want at the price that it's listed at.
Yeah.
And it's just very challenging, the conversations we're having where, as someone who was approved even a month ago, or just prior to the change with the rates, go in and now they're only able to offer like 50,000, 100,000 less for the home that they want. So they're having to change what they want. And then I'll get offers on my listings that are low. And then the agent's basically saying like, this is all that they can do. So if we can try to work something out, great. If not, we're going to go offer on ABC like right after this. So it's like you have to, depending on where you are in the market, you kind of have to make those decisions pretty quickly of whether you want to take a lower price now and just be done with it, or wait a while longer and see what happens. And, with the way things are going, we could be in for a little bit more of a drop over listing and sales prices. So it's, it can become very intense, very emotional with the client, because, they need to make that decision depending on where they're going. So there's a lot of things happening really fast, but it's very, it's challenging. I had a pretty rough week actually with conversations, and now I'm having conversations with people that want to list, and I'm showing them the numbers, but they are not really agreeing with the numbers. So that's kind of like, well, the numbers aren't lying. Of course, we've talked about it a million times. We can try anything, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I'm going back to meet a few people this week just to review everything and make it very clear that trying to get that amount for that property may be impossible, like actually impossible right now. And then they have to decide whether they want to stay or whether they want to maybe pull the equity out, go buy something else, and then use it as an income property for a while.
I think the challenge of that is that people look at what their neighbors or friends sold for in the area or in a area, 6 and 9 months ago or last year, and it's different, or the expectation is different. They're not going to sell in 5 days or whatever it may be, right? I think it's people don't realize how quickly things can change.
Yeah. And that's it. Like the emails that I'm sending out right now are like, every email that I write, I'm saving it basically as a template, because the time that I'm putting into developing these emails to make sure that everything is in there is crazy. Like, I'm sitting down for like over an hour writing like a well-crafted email to make sure that when these people get the information, first of all, that they want to work with me because I have the most information for them. Then I'm not just picking up the call and trying to get their business. I'm trying to give them the value of what's happening in the market to earn their trust and earn their business. But and I'm saving these pieces because I'm like, this is like great for anything down the road. I've never written emails the way that I've written them in the last like month to anybody. It's, because I know it's tough, and like to be competitive, especially in a market like this, we really got to know our stuff. Sorry, I flipped that to kind of trying to be an amazing realtor.
Well, you are an amazing realtor,
and what everyone needs to do if they want to, make it through this change, this transition.
I've said too, Greg, we had a few clients this week that we were getting pre-approved to start shopping, and I think there's kind of that lowered expectation, I guess, too, for buyers. Like, most of the people I'm talking to now getting pre-approved are definitely expecting to be pre-approved for way more than what they're actually pre-approving for. So they're, telling me they want to be buying kind of in the 600 range, and we're coming in more in the mid fours, high fours. So, and that's, due to the increased rates and everything else changing too. So same thing, they might've been pre-approved a year ago or 6 months ago and expecting a much higher number. And now they're just kind of that, like I said, kind of a lowered expectation, but then those people are going out in the market, maybe a little demoralized, out shopping, maybe seeing something that they, a little less than what they were hoping for. And it kind of makes it for a somber market. And I guess that relates to your conversations you're having too, right?
Well, yeah. And and that's exactly right. You go out shopping and you're like, oh, wow, this is this price now. Okay, we can do this, confirm with the lender and everything. It's like, not a chance. You're looking at something different now. So it is. The conversations are weird. And now it's turning into what's going to happen next. Is it going down more? How much more is it going down if it does? Like you were talking about, are people, or on the question, are people out shopping to try to beat the next rate hike? I think we're going to see more of that in the next couple of weeks. I'm noticing that there's a little bit more activity. I was talking to somebody, they had their house, it was on the market since only the 3rd, and they had an open house yesterday, and they got an offer. They got a conditional offer. So I was happy about that. The one that I recently sold, we had minimal showings. We finally got it done. We didn't get obviously our asking price, but it's done, and now they get to, and it closes soon, and they get to move into their new home in a couple weeks.
You have the updated numbers, Greg, from last week?
Yeah, where did they go? Do you have those there, Stephen? There we go. Let me try.
Wow,
Damn.
very, very slick. Beautiful shot of Parliament.
I had that up on my screen here. Yeah, the market update. That's just our beautiful, Val from our agency office. Oh, that's just a review. July's numbers reveal that buyers are indeed putting on the brakes more heavily than what is typically expected during the midsummer sales dip. Aggressive interest rate increases are surely impacting the decision to buy at the moment, as well as other factors that we mentioned last month. But there is a silver lining. With more properties continually being added to inventory, we are on the cusp of returning to a balanced market, and that is good news.
Mm-hmm.
So numbers, the average sales price is
This
up.
is for the month of July, it looks like?
Yeah, July. This is year over year. 20% average days. No, sorry. I'm having a hard time reading that one there. 20 average days on market. See, now this is funny. You know what? I always have to say this, and I posted this on Instagram today. When you see these numbers, just don't think that applies to anything, like necessarily to you, because every neighborhood is different. Every home is different. And like, this is everything. So, I mean, I know that they have to do that, and that's just how the stats normally work. And people just get up in arms about these numbers. 840 sales for residential homes last month, and that's down 34%. Like big time, like sales numbers are down. Prices seem to be steady, but I don't know.
Now, to your point, Greg, sorry to cut you off. To your point just now about you stating those numbers days on market is citywide. It depends on the area, and I just wanted to kind of touch on that to give an example that this week I had a client buying a semi-detached in the Glebe, 4 offers on it. A day of accepting offers. It sat on the market for 4 days. Every to that point, some areas will sit longer. Some will be longer than that 20 days. Others will be, they're just as desirable or not changing as far as how many days on market something is sitting. So I think to what you're talking about, it's really look at your individual area. If you're thinking about selling and you're talking to your neighbor across the city, it's going to be much different than where you are.
Totally
exactly
different. And like right now in Orleans, there's way more bang for your buck in Orleans when it comes to anything. You're paying a $50,000 premium to live in Canada or Barhaven almost. So, and I've said it before on the show, like when the market changes like this, from what I've seen in my experience, the East End usually gets hit first, then it just kind of moves through the city. And then the same thing happens when it comes back up. Orleans starts and then it goes over there, and it's just like this weird little wave that happens. I've seen that a few times now.
On that chart, though, I mean, the most glaring number to me was that the home price itself was still up 5%. Like the average home price was still up 5%. So sales are down.
That blows my mind. It blows my mind too. It blows my mind too.
The other thing I saw was.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just trying to remember the numbers that I had last week, year over year, where I was saying that like the numbers were almost the same as last year. So when I see that, I'm kind of like, it's vague, obviously. But
I have to say though, driving around the city this weekend, I was out at my brother's I'm in the far west, basically near the Scotiabank Place or whatever it's called now, Corel Center, always be the Palladium to me. And then he's out past Trim. So I mean, literally drove across the whole city, but noticed a lot of developments, like even in his little neighborhood, in my neighborhood, there's just a lot of new developments popping up, which is good. I think that'll just help again with the current supply issue. Now, I guess that's the other thing too, is we keep talking about how much supply there is and it's making people sit on the sidelines. This is kind of in the short term, like there is still at a high level with the amount of people immigrating here, like we still have a shortage of available homes. Like there still does need to be homes built. And I think I had someone this week say that they heard the show and like, oh, it seems like the supply issue's been fixed. I just want to be clear that it's not. There was kind of a double supply issue. There wasn't enough listings, and there also wasn't enough homes. Now there's lots of listings, but we're still short on homes. So it's not. It wasn't just a net of homes get listed, and now all of a sudden there's no more supply issue.
Well, and I've got something interesting to say about that I just learned yesterday during a transaction. So this type of model that I sold, and there's another one on the market right now built in 2021 that is listed in like I think it was 670. They're selling new right now from Minto for 750. And, I just sold one that was built in 2019 in the low sixes, updated. So it's like, how long until the builders have to adapt and accommodate these buyers that are going to strictly be focusing on resale when they can get the same thing for $100,000 less? I just don't like, they're going to have to do something. I mean, they can, but it's just a matter of when is that going to come and what's that going to look like?
But I think to Paul's point of supply hasn't changed. It's really just buyers staying in their rentals or in their parents' basement for now until interest rates kind of stabilize or come back down. And I think that's really, I know we have an article kind of talking about that a bit, but right now there's still such a shortage nationally and within the city that, there might be more listings on the market, but people psychologically just aren't buying because the rate's high compared to what they were seeing 9 months ago. And to your point, Greg, that right now, because they are high, they can't qualify for as much. It becomes that double-edged sword. But, that the number of properties that are needed for the amount of people coming to the city or that are looking at buying has not changed. And so it's going to be cyclical. Interest rates are going to come back down, and all those buyers are going to flood back because psychologically the interest rate has come down, and that's going to drive the prices up, and demand is going to be right back to where it was.
And people qualify for more. It'll just be a perfect storm, right? Rates come down, pre-approvals slightly go up, people are back out in the market, and then we're back in the same situation as a year ago or the last 2 years. Interesting article this morning. Figured it'd be some good talking points, and they are very common. But this was on Ottawa CTV News, talking about 5 current myths of the real estate market. So I'll throw them out, and we can just we can talk to each of them as we go through them. So number 1 was sales are down. The market is crashing. What do you think about that myth, Craig? What do you guys think about that myth?
Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
I was just gonna say, definitely not crashing. Again, like we said, interest rates are up, so people are staying out of the market, so it's slowing and stabilizing. But I mean, we just looked at those numbers where prices year over year across the city are actually still up 5%.
And also sales are down, but 2021 was one of the best years ever in real estate. Yeah, so it's going to be.
So you can't compare.
There you go. I mean, we're all on the same page here. Myth number 2: there's no more multiple offers. I can lowball sellers. That's pretty much both of you spoke to that, but I'm interested to hear what.
So I have, I mean, I wouldn't say there are no more multiple offers. Like, there's still multiple offers. It depends on what the seller and their agent strategy is. If someone's going to list like crazy low, they still might get people in to bid on it. Now, however, there is one that I know of that happened yesterday or 2 days ago, and they were on the market for almost 60 days. I think they did a price drop. Didn't get what they wanted, and then they did another price drop, and then they got 2 offers right away, and it still sold 15,000 less than what that second price was. So multiple offers, just a different type of multiple offer. So I wouldn't say, when it says I can lowball sellers, like, I mean, you can do whatever you want. If in a market like this, I would do the same thing for my buyer. If I'm an agent working for my buyer, I want to get them the house at the lowest price possible. I want to get them the best deal that I possibly can. So I'll work to get that low price. Now, you know, when someone's saying, can I lowball sellers? If you mean like 150,000 less, I think that's like ridiculous. But I mean, there's no question that on some properties you could come in 50,000 under and negotiate. If the people want to sell and their agent's good on the other end, you'll figure it out. You know, whether that's the middle or whether the buyer comes way up or whether the seller comes way down. It depends on the urgency of either party.
Yeah, I think the biggest right now is, you know, not necessarily taking kneecaps out on pricing, but being able to get conditions in and being able to actually, you know, do an inspection or wait, you know, and make sure your financing is in order, things like that, which wasn't the case the last couple of years.
Yeah, here, I'll give you another scenario quickly here. So on a listing I just had, we had an offer that was great and they tied us up for 2 weeks because we agreed to extend the financing condition. It's just when all the changes happened, they were well approved before. 3 lenders wouldn't approve them. They wanted to extend again. I said, there's no way in the world we're going to do that. Now we were in a bit of a crunch because we had something closing that they bought. So we got an unconditional offer 2 days later after relisting. So we took a bit of a hit on that, but it was great. We still got an unconditional offer. They didn't even ask for, you know, for no financing, no inspection, no nothing. So when I saw it, I was like, guys, I'm like, we gotta work on this, you know, and we got it done. So, I mean, it's case by case.
So I got a question, Greg. The signs that say, you know, we'll sell your home or we'll buy it from you. How are those realtors doing right now with their buyback policies? I feel like that's going to be a deep dark hole in the last few months.
I don't know. I mean, you know, that whole marketing tactic works well to kind of start conversations, but there's like a very small percentage of where that actually happens. I mean, it's based on such a strict criteria of, you know, they'll buy it at their price. So it's kind of like, you know, you list their house for sale, and then if they don't get it, you agree to buy it at a certain price. But a lot of the time, even if that happens, they'll just cancel and they'll, you know, take it off the market because the price that
we'll buy it for 20% less,
so low.
Yeah. 20% less than market value,
plus fees, like, you know,
they minus
5%
fees.
plus minus whatever I should say. Yeah.
And I do know that that a number of them that offer that, they, to Greg's point, they pick and choose. Like, it's not every single property that it's offered on. They pick and choose which properties they're offering, and then they're offering, and then they're minusing the 5% plus HST for realtor fees, minus, you know, multiple price reductions, things like that. So it's definitely just a conversation starter.
Yeah,
for sure.
So myth number 3: homes are taking longer to sell. Sellers are panicking.
I see some. I definitely have conversations with some sellers that are panicking, and that's more of they've got a new build coming up in September, and they haven't, you know, they waited their, you know, only listing now. It's been sitting for 20 days, and so they're not panicking. They're just getting stressed about how do we, what's our options? Do we, you know, can we refinance and carry both? Do we convert? You know, I think Greg mentioned earlier, do we convert our existing to a rental for now? And get the other, you know, that sort of thing. My conversations I've had, I haven't been panicking, but I'm sure, Greg, you've probably spoken to a number of people that do panic.
Yeah.
But again,
yeah, I mean, and rightfully so, especially if they're closing on something new, right? You know, we had to pull like a little magic trick for that last one that we just did, but their mortgage broker was actually amazing. And we just kind of figured it out with them and the seller, and we got it all done. We got a little bit of an extension, and we found out we might not need it because we got this other offer in. But yeah, it's like gymnastics here. I'm doing gymnastics, but definitely the days on market is, you know, I'm telling people, like the potential listing I'm getting in Orleans. When I told them the price, I said to them, you know, even though like they saw the average is, you know, 20 days, I said in their neighborhood, the average time is 30. I said, when we list, I go, I want to prepare you to potentially have this property for sale for 2 months. You know what I mean? They're like, really? And I said, I just want to say that now so that anything else is amazing. You know, I said, it might not necessarily take that long, but I'm preparing people for, you know, work.
So one of the very interesting things in the article, Greg, to your point, is it said in June of 2019, the average was about 35 days. And that was considered quick at that time. Yeah. So, and also if you sell in say 30 days and it's still closed 2 months after that, you're still talking 90 days from the time you list it to the time it's sold. So whereas, it might have taken 5 days to sell it, the buyers might have been putting their closing out 90 days. So you're still selling in the same time frame. It's just a matter of the fact that, it might take longer to get those offers, but the home is still going to sell within, say, 90 to 120 day period from when they listed.
Yeah. People have very short-term memories.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
You're talking about 35 days average on market. Again, that's the average. So meaning, most likely are over, but also interest rates at that time were around 3.5 to 3.75 for a 5-year fixed. It's just that in the last couple of years when the pandemic hit, the rates plummeted. So, obviously they are higher now than that, but still, to your point, Paul, but properties sat for way longer. I remember listing my own places that, they'd sit for ages. It would be a long week, listing, it would sit over a long weekend, wouldn't even get a single showing, price reduction, relist, things like that. And it take, I think one was November of 2019. And I think it sat for 40 days,
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's just not what we're accustomed to in the last couple of years. But anyways.
Well, we'll pound through these last two myths here. Excuse me. So this is kind of, again, what we're talking to. Wow, my voice. I missed the best opportunity to sell. There are no more record-setting prices.
I think the first sentence in that article sums it up. The prices are up 64% since 2019.
Yes.
So what type of growth would normally take 10 years to achieve took 30 months?
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. It's like, sure you did, but so now you're here.
Yeah.
So what? Like, we can't do anything about it. Just, okay, what do you want to do? What kind of question is that?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you did.
Well, and then it's the motivator of like, what's your motivation for selling as well? If it's, selling if it's selling an investment property, again, they're up 64% since 2019. If it's your primary residence, moving to a primary residence, what does it matter? You're also then buying something else. So like their prices in that category are likely stabilized or down, or you're not going into multiple offers.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that are upset that they did wait.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing right now that's causing a lot of pain in the market. There's a lot of people that are upset about something that they can't control, or they may have, like, when they saw it going up, then they pulled money out of their house to renovate it. Now it's ready. and they can't get that extra $100,000 that they could have in February, March, right? There's a bit of that happening too, but
give it 6 months. Give it 6 months.
Yeah, it was a magical time. Just adjust your process here. You got to figure something out.
The last myth we have here, with mortgage rates on the rise, people will default on their mortgages.
Yeah, I'll leave that to you guys.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it, a bunch before. Even everyone qualifies for their mortgage at Bank of Canada qualifying rate or 2% higher than that 5-year fixed, if that combined rate is higher than that Bank of Canada qualifying. So for some of those people that were able to get, let's say, a rate in late 2020 for under 2%, they were still qualifying at 5.25. So rate over 3% higher than what their current rate is, and that they could afford those payments. If you're getting a mortgage now, and let's say it's a 5-year fixed at 5%, you're qualifying as if you're paying 7%. your mortgage payments. Now, when you go to renew, so you're qualifying already based on your income that you have to cover that 2% higher payment. But when somebody is coming up for renewal, will they be able to renew again? Well, they will have paid down the mortgage over that period of time. Regardless, they'll pay down principal. They can also re-amortize, meaning they can extend their amortization back out. So they started at 25 year, they pay it down for 5 years. Yes, the rates, let's say you're even double. Let's say they went from 2% to 4% because they're up for renewal in a year. They will have paid down their mortgage for that 5 years. They'll be at 20 years. They can stretch that amortization back out to 25 years. And which will reduce their payment, and it'll be based on a lower loan amount anyways. So even those people coming up, it's sticker shock really of just what that interest rate is going to be, but there are ways of managing that monthly obligation. I don't see default rates changing. Default rates in Canada are like 0.0001.
Right. And the thing is that the bank doesn't want you to default, do they? Like,
no. They certainly don't want to take down a house, take back a house in a decreasing market. That's for sure. And like you said, the banks aren't in the business of losing money. I mean, they're very conservative in the way that they lend. That's, as brokers, we work with, over 30, 40 different lenders. And it's for that reason. They all have different appetites and they all have different interests, but certainly none of them are in the business of trying to find a property that they're going to lose money on. That's the last thing they're looking for. So defaulting, as Dave said, the percentage of people that default in Canada is outrageously low. Thank goodness we have, CMHC and Sagen and those companies there to take all that money and ensure that the market doesn't crash. But yeah, no, default numbers are low. And I think the rising interest rates, I mean, like I said, with pre-approvals, if the rates go up again in September, we have to adjust our variable rate pre-approvals now, and they're going to go up again. So people's buying power is going to decrease again. So it's all relative. Like, never going to happen. That's it. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on here, gentlemen.
Out of here.
I sound like Mickey Rourke over here. I think it's the coffee. Yeah. So no. So I don't see it happening. It's definitely a myth. We've myth busted this morning. We're busting myths.
I think we should. I don't know if we did it or not, but we should give a shout out to Taylor Bennett, who posted, who did
Bennett
that
Property Shop
for Ottawa CTV News. Yeah, Bennett Property Shop, Taylor Bennett. It's a good article. He did a good job on that, I think.
I agree, and I think we should also remind everyone to subscribe and like and share and review. And we're coming up 100 episode, where this is episode number 96, which is wild. We only do this once a week, and episode number 100 is coming up very shortly, and we're gonna have something special planned for that. And we should do, once DW is back from Italia, we should plan our get together, our tow rep gathering.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. We got to do it. An event. We can do it at the Orleans office if you'd like.
At the agency.
At the agency. Yeah.
The agency.
I mean, Central might be better, but
Yeah, after that drive out east, maybe we'll find something Centertown. We'll
the gallery.
Yeah. The gallery.
Gallery. Oh yeah, that's right. Of course.
The gallery. It's funny. Someone actually had one of the comments a couple weeks ago. Someone actually wrote, he's like, I know Paul didn't do it, but I could actually hear him saying the agency when introducing Greg. Let's slide into the mood boost here. Got 3 today, 3 good ones. All from my brother, which I'm not gonna lie, he's been slacking a bit on the. So they come in, there's 3, maybe one of them's okay, but these 3 they're hot up the press. Number 1, do they laugh out loud in Hawaii, or is it just aloha?
Okay, I like that.
Number 2, I asked my date to meet me at the gym, and they never showed up. That's how I knew we weren't going to work out. And last but not least, number 3, initially I didn't believe that my chiropractor was any good, but now I stand corrected.
Yay.
Pretty funny. Throughout the week, I get people just randomly sending me mood boosts. Like, people literally just text me like, hey, my daughter thought of this joke, and like pretty funny. So I have a database. We'll go.
All right.
So great. So thanks to everyone for listening. We'll be back next week. As always, shows released Tuesdays, 10 a.m., YouTube, podcast platforms, wherever you listen. And quick shout out to North Brew Coffee. If you go to northbrew.ca and use the promo code podcast, they're going to give you 20% off your coffee order, all coffee orders. And 20% of your coffee order actually goes towards the Ottawa homeless community. So great coffee, great cause. And shout out to Stephen Hopkins, our producer, just hides in the background, lurking, ready, waiting at all times. And we'll be back next week. Have a good week, gentlemen. Have a good week, listeners.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe because we'd really like that.